You ready? Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of the Recreation Advisory Committee for, let's see, it is January 13th. Let me make sure and say 2020, because that's not in my head yet, to order. And if we'll all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and then go bow your heads. Father, thank you for bringing us here tonight and for making it possible for our children to be able to participate in activities and events, and not just our children, but our citizens also as well, across the city, and help us to do a good job to represent them tonight and in all our meetings. We thank you for everything that you've done for us. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's move to item 3, approval of agenda. Is there any discussion about the agenda tonight? If not, can I get a motion for approval or disapproval?
I move that we approve the agenda as it reads.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we'll move down to 4. Are there any public comments or presentations, Jen?
No, Madam Chair, there are not.
Okay, so we're down to 5 now. Public presentations?
There are none.
Well, we're moving quick. All right, number 6, old business. Jennifer?
Well, I think that we tried with Landon, or we introduced him, but he didn't get a chance to speak to everyone. Is that right? Yes, so I'm gonna give. Oh, you did do it? Okay. Tammy is the only one that we have not done, and I'm not sure, she's not here. I haven't heard from her, so, we can just move along.
Okay, item 7, presentation and approval of minutes from December 9th, 2019. Any discussion about those minutes? Can I get a motion for approval or disapproval?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 8, new business. All right, Jennifer? I know
Okay.
you've got new business.
Yes, we have several items for new business, and I don't want to rush anything, but each of you has a Recreation Advisory Goals 2020. I don't know about y'all, I can't hardly see that, so I want to make sure you had it in front of you. This is just a summary of where we're at, and what I want the commission to be able to do is to have goals and objectives for the year. You know, obviously I have goals and objectives that I have to maintain, whether they're from the city manager or council that is out here in the audience as well. We have to obtain those things. But on top of that, we also want to make sure that you all have input into what we aren't doing and what takes precedence and priority. So just wanted to give you a quick update, and then that way we can kind of run through and see exactly where we are. We don't have to get all these done today. I want you guys to really, take it home, look at it, do a little bit of research, all the information. If there's a question you have, just, you can certainly email me and I can get you the trails plan, all of that stuff. If you need a copy of the master plan, we can send that back out, because we really want to make sure that we're doing this right. On our plate for completion for 2020 fiscal year, that's at the end of June of this year. We will have 2 playgrounds put up. We'll also have the dog park with a little bit of extra parking facilitated, and then the resurfacing of the outdoor basketball courts and covered shelter over those courts. So those are things that we, yes.
Can I interrupt you for just one moment?
Yes.
It says playground 2, is that
Yes,
in
there's 2
addition
playgrounds.
to what's already down, or is that moving one and building another?
No, we are taking the one that is currently there down. It is no longer really viable. It's not exactly the safest, and it is old. So we're going to take that down. We're replacing it with 2. One is a regular school age, and then one is preschool. And then we'll also have some adaptive play. Not a whole bunch, but a little depending on the budget. So we might have adaptive swings or adaptive apparatus that kids with disabilities might be able to play.
We had talked about a splash pad, that's not including that, right?
Not yet,
Okay.
okay.
And that playground's up, down closer to the ball field entrance, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yep.
Opposite side of the road, the same side as
Yep.
the.
It's on the opposite side.
That's right.
At the same
Um,
time.
These are the items that we have right now. We've got the Richard Gray Master Plan. This is a plan focus goal for me this year, so go ahead and start moving on that. And all of you that were involved with the master plan know how detailed it is. There's different portions of it. Do we wanna focus on the entryway? They're basically the gateway to the park. Do we wanna focus on fencing, doing those upgrades, et cetera, et cetera. As much as I would like to just take one piece of it out and focus solely on that, a lot of it is to do with budgeting and whatnot have you, so, we want a good consensus on what exactly it is, cause, if it's up to me, I want it all, but can't quite do that. But this is something that we do have to begin implementing, for 2020 into 2021. The new rec center, community center that's coming, for those of you that might not have driven by, it's coming, like the land is cleared. We are actually on schedule. I just met with Mr. Lott, last week about it, so we are good to go. I believe Thursday, they're coming down. We're gonna make some, quick decisions about some things that we have to do, so. The groundbreaking, we've already done, we've completed, and again, we're moving on schedule. But there is a ton of things that have to be done. We have to go over the hours of operation, what time are we gonna, there's the budgeting of it. We don't even know the overhead cost yet, how much it's gonna cost, the membership fees, how we're gonna deal with that. Program assessments, we're working on that right now with staffing, all of that, hiring. So you can imagine, it's like opening your own business, all of those things that have to be done. And oh, by the way, it's anticipated to be completed by the end of this year, so we've got our hands full this year. The next thing that we have on tap is the 1330 East Argent Conservation Easement. That is a council-adopted short and long-term goal for 2020. By February, I did speak with the city manager. We should have complete ownership. Right now, we're still doing title searches, and then once that's done, we'll do the deed transfer, so we're getting close. And we have $50,000 that was budgeted. This is to complete a site survey, so you can imagine 1330 acreage, that's quite a bit. We're also gonna be establishing a fire line and then do some scheduled live burns to thin the area out. But what does need to be done is to develop a master plan. And I believe that was mentioned at one of the council meetings that I was not at the beginning of the year, so.
Jen, can I interrupt you again?
Yes, sir, of course.
I am not familiar with that location. Where is it located at?
Is it Hampton?
It's East Argent. East Argent
Yeah.
track off of, Argent and New River. It's back in that.
You know where Walmart
Between
is?
Oldfield
That
and
back
Monroe.
road? I'm trying to think of the,
It's on,
is it
it's
Hampton
on,
Lakes?
that road was a road, I call it the road to nowhere. For years, it just
I
stopped.
live out there.
So it goes, it's
Yeah.
You live on the road.
Yeah.
way down, something
it-
like that, down that.
But the property's off to the left,
Loop
Yes.
around.
to the west.
All right,
Yeah,
very
you'll
good.
follow that road all the way up, and we've been out there, it's massive. So we are in plans, I've spoken to Mr. Sinboard to let him know, we'll be meeting with the biologist. When there is a conservation easement, there's a partnership, you have to work with them, and they are part of that master plan process. So, as a conservative price range, I put anywhere between 48 to 52. We were very fortunate, with the Richard Gray, master plan, that it was at the price that we got. I don't foresee that with this one. It's a little bit more detailed, but we'll certainly try. So I just wanted to let you know, keep that in the back of your mind, that this is something that, we've got to get moving on. Millstone Landing is always, I think this is a diamond in the rough. It's just waiting to bloom and develop. Right now, there is no master plan. I believe they brought a few ideas to the city council prior to me being here. I just think the fees were just too hard and it didn't get adopted. So right now, there's not a whole lot of movement. The next one is the Alta Bike and Pedestrian Plan. This is a council-adopted short and long-term goal by 2021. So where are we at right now? The South Carolina Trails Grant is currently under consideration. for a section of the Alta plan, and it's also a portion of the RG master plan, so that's kind of two birds with one stone. But there are other sections, and I know I hear this quite a bit, that a lot of folks say that we're doing a lot in downtown Hardeeville, but we're not doing enough in the outskirts of Hardeeville. So there are different areas that we can look to try and figure out which one's gonna be our focus. And then again, we'll have to take that to council and say, this is what the commission collectively as a whole really wants to focus on, and then we're gonna have to figure out the funding for those. Because it is, out of everything, trails are massively expensive, but they're so needed. It hits a demographic for just about everybody, and then of course the East Coast Greenway, we're still in talks with them. I think Bruce is coming down this week or next week, I think it's this week.
On the White Hardy Boulevard.
Yes. I had to think about that for a minute.
Okay.
The naming rights policy, this is something that was council adopted, short-term, long-term goal by 2020, so we are ahead of the game on that. The policy draft has been completed. You all have it. This is what went out late today with the changes, and then we also sent it to council, not for adoption, just to show that, sent you the wrong ones. And then we also listened, I think we had one council member that, or commission member that just said, yeah, we kind of need to reword it, so we did. And that's where we'll talk about that a little bit later, so anyone else can put input into it. But once that's done, all we have to do is vote on it, and then we'll move it to council, and then council will be able to sit in and say, let's change this or that, and either approve it or not, and start all over. But we've been working on this for the last 4 months, maybe, and there's tons of different departments that we used, so hopefully it's a winner. Programs right now, what is our focus as we move into the rec center? This is another thing that I hear a lot of things about. How do we reach our senior center population, our aging population? And again, we have to figure out how we can reach everybody. So that's something that we need to figure out. Struggling with athletics right now, and that's not just us, that is the county as well. So we've got tons of kids here in Hardeeville, and they're just not signing up. So we don't know if it's cost, if it's oversaturation, competing with Beaufort or Bluffton. So we've got a lot of work to do with that. And then events. Do we continue to add more and more events with just 2 staff? We are adding some more on our calendar. And we are working on including a Christmas program addition as well. That was, a lot of folks wanted us to do something more for Christmas. And then of course safety and overall maintenance of the park is huge. So those are just some of the goals that I have. So in putting those goals out to you all, what I want you to do is just take it more so for homework. If there's anything that I can send you, because like I said, we can hash it out and you'll be here for like an hour or 2 trying to go through them all. But I really want you guys to do due diligence and go back and see what is most important. That way we can all collectively figure it out, bring your information back to the next meeting, whether it is, you have some new program ideas or, anything and everything. We've got to get these nailed down by February. So
Jennifer, was there a grant for Millstone Landing? Wasn't there some kind of grant or something that was approved for them, for that area?
I'm not sure. I can check.
I don't know why in my head that,
We
For
had a grant
Millstone
for
Landing?
Juju Hudson. We got one right before I got here.
I'm sorry, for what?
Juju Hudson, the 2 park, the playgrounds,
I don't know.
to do the design work. But I can
I
ask.
just remember something coming through for Millstone Landing, and I'm just wondering if it was ever done, and it may just be that.
It might have been for design work that was never approved. It could have been. I don't know. I will ask,
Okay.
and
Just
see.
wonder. Because I know it keeps coming on and off the table, just never quite.
Yes. Now, I
Seems to
did
be.
ask for it last year, but it did get cut out of my budget. I asked to do a master plan, and it was.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what's sticking in my head, but I'm just curious.
Okay. And I know the public is constantly asking
Any
questions about
idea
it.
where the next landing is for Savannah River other than Fort Wentworth? So what would you say, that's the only one between Fort Wentworth and,
Yeah, we
Here.
we're an ideal location. There's a few others a little bit further down, but I don't think they're in as good, I mean, ours isn't in the best shape, but compared, we're pretty good.
It could be a high traffic,
It
I
can,
mean, it's,
if, yeah, the
Well-
facility, the building, if it's taken care of and you get water, we don't even have lights down there, right now, so it's not really safe. A lot of the boaters wanna leave early in the morning. If you know, there's all kinds of issues. We've got, folks that go down there and tear up stuff, a lot of vandalism, all that kind of stuff, so, you know, we have to take care of all that stuff to make it a safe place.
Well, that is money in the bank though.
Oh, I agree.
yeah,
It's,
it could be.
it's a diamond in the rough. I know the plans that I had seen prior to me getting here were, I mean, some of them were a little lofty, but they were pretty neat. And it would give, you know, the city a different area, especially outdoor green area for outdoor concerts, stuff like that, to bring other people to a different area. Cause right now, obviously, this is all we have, so everyone has to come.
Well, a
down
different
here.
focus with the boating and all too,
Yeah,
that you
absolutely.
don't have now, so.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of boaters that will, I mean, like I said, I'm a former boater, I don't do it too much anymore because of my back, but, you know, I'll gladly, you know, go to different boat ramps and you know, they have an honor system and you just put, you know, $2 or $3 in there, whatever the ticket thing is, or you can do, annual fees where you get a sticker, so it just, you know, depends, but it's something that, you know, I'm not gonna forget about it, I'm gonna keep it on the table, because I think it needs to move forward, and that's the hard thing with Parks and Rec is, a lot of our items are high-ticket items, and they do cost a lot of money, you know, but the end result impact is good for the entire community, But anyway, I just wanted to update you with all of that stuff so you could see where we were, and then, you know, for each one of those sections, we need to have a goal, very specific. The Richard Gray master plan, if we're all gonna let's focus on the entrance. This is gonna be our top goal for 2020. Let's try and figure out how we're gonna get the money to do this, and this is what we wanna do, and we take that to council, and then council says, okay, we hear what you guys are saying, and then we're gonna try and figure that
I
out.
think
better
you're
out.
dead on with that. I think
Yeah.
that is the first and foremost thing.
It's a pretty cool entrance. Same thing with the rec center, you know, whether it's programming, hours of operation. I do plan on doing quite a bit of, public engagement meetings, where we ask the public to come and give us insight into, you know, the schedule of fees, you know, what do you wanna pay for a membership fee? Do you think it should be free? Do you think it should be $5 for members, residents? We already have a resident and non-resident fee established, so I think it's twice as much for a non-resident, right now. So if we charge, I don't know, $24 for the year or something, you know, for a non-resident, it would be twice that amount, but we want it open to everybody, and there's a lot of, you know, athletic programming that we'll do, you name it, we've got to program like crazy. But anyway, like I said, that's what we'll do, is we'll go down through each of them, so that is a little bit of homework. I'm sorry to give you guys homework, but it is something that's very passionate, and we should have done this last year, and just time got away, and I wanted to make sure that we definitely did it this year. So if there's something on here that you don't have access to, or you say, no, I have no idea what this is, then just send me a quick text, email, and I will get everything to you. If you need to see what the council goals are for this year, I think they are up online already. If not, we'll get them to you. So, does anyone have any questions about that, or why we're doing the goals? Why, as a commission, it's important that we collectively have these goals that we try and attain?
I think we're good.
Good.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's all I have for that.
Okay, so naming rights policy.
Yes, the naming rights
And
policy.
let me just say that I was the one that was like raising Cain, because I looked at it and it looked like we were deciding for the entire city, and it just, I'm like, let me read this again, and I realized we had an incorrect version, but I knew
Yeah.
that it was, something wasn't right, and I'm asking my husband, what is this, John? Have you seen this? He's like, I haven't seen this version.
Not yet.
So anyway, I appreciate you. I know you had to do some extra work because,
Oh, it's okay.
but I'd much rather us be prepared the correct way than you have to do it at another
Oh,
meeting,
yes.
which is why I wanted to give you a heads up.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
council will say the same, because if not, then
That's right.
I've been on the hot seat, and yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I'll redo, no problem.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have it, if anyone in the audience, I think I have a few extra copies. I think there's 2 up here if you wanna look through them. Yeah, there's a few up here as well. But what we have done, council asked a couple of months back, we did our sponsorship policy. And usually with the sponsorship policy, there is a little bit of an addendum, and we actually had it built into that policy, where the naming rights are addressed in that policy. And council said, no, let's do it a little bit separate, just take it out, make it its own unique, policy. So what I did is I scoured and scoured and scoured, talked to a lot of folks, got a lot of feedback from people who sent us stuff. And this policy by far, I think covers everything. If it doesn't, I'm sure, like I said, that's what we're discussing it, you can let me know if there's a certain word that needs to be changed, anything like that. But I feel pretty good, pretty confident. I have discussed it with our city manager. We've gone over it with a fine tooth comb to make sure that we have everything just right. And, you know, with, like Sherry said, you know, I appreciate any feedback, you know, so we can kind of get through everything. But the basic purpose of this is at any time that somebody from within the city, whether, just to throw something out there, if someone comes in and says, hey, we've got $8.5 million, and we want it to be the Jenny B. Jones Rec Center. Well, that's great. We'd love to take your money. There's a process you're gonna have to go through, because Jenny B. Jones might be great. I don't know who Jenny B. Jones is. But there is a process, and that is all listed in here so that it's equitable for everybody across the board. Whether it's a historical person or not, a huge community person, all of that, we wanna make sure that we're following those guidelines. So that's what this policy does. It establishes guidelines, and this is for everybody throughout the city. It just happened to get tasked to Jen, probably because of the sponsorship policy. So I'm doing due diligence and getting it completed, but we can go through it step by step, or I can just, everyone should have read it, and I do apologize for the short notice of getting you all the corrected version. All we did was take out the PRT, or Hardeeville Parks and Rec, those sections, RAC, and then we put in city committees, boards, or commissions. So basically, if Jenny B. Jones is gonna give us $8.5 million and it's for the rec center, it's gonna go to Mr. C's office. Mr. C is gonna designate that to me. I get to give it to commission. Commission will look at it, review, and go, nah, yay, nah. They'll review over all the paperwork, and then from there, we get that back to Mr. Simbor, and then the city manager, and then from there, he will present to council, and council makes the final decision, not the RAC. You all are just an advisory commission where you provide advice, and your 2 cents worth. And I will say that council takes those 2 cents very seriously. So anyway, that's what we did all the way through. I think it's pretty thorough, but again, I can go through it step by step, or if everyone is pretty good, you can ask questions, say, yeah, I have a problem with the wording on this one. That's up to you, Madam Chair, how you would like us to
She
proceed.
did reword the assessing and approving requests. The bullets there that are the steps, she reworded that too, because it had final approval twice, even though you meant final approval of the recommendation, but
Yes.
anyway, it was hard, it was confusing, so that was reworded too. I think the reworked version is fine because it's generic and it involves any department that has a dog in the fight or whatever, so, I just was concerned that it looked like it was just a Parks and Rec was deciding for everybody, and I know that wasn't the intention. It was just that Parks and Rec happened to be writing it, so but anyway, I appreciate all the work, and
Yeah, absolutely.
sorry for Sunday evening.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. No problems at all.
Does anybody else have a question or a concern, or?
No, my questions were similar, and then when the revised came out, I was like, okay, now it makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, the revised definitely answered all my questions.
Yeah, I had, if y'all can only see my Word documents, there's like 6 of them that are revised. I'm like, revised 1, oh shoot, which one is which? So I do apologize for that.
That's okay.
We got it on our end. That's why me and Mr. Steve were like, I don't understand. And I said, oh, man. We sent the wrong one, so. But
Okay,
yeah.
so does anyone, we don't need any more discussion before we make a motion? Anybody? Okay, so if we can get a motion to approve or disapprove the naming policy,
Motion to approve.
and get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no opposed, Jen, so
Okay.
move on to C, which is attendance and involvement.
Yes, ma'am. Last November or December, we were running into, and I have no problem sharing this with you all. Like I said, I have many bosses. You all are bosses, council that's in the audience are bosses, the public are bosses, Mr. Simbor is a boss. So I have a lot of folks that I have to please all the time. And one thing that kind of got tagged on was the fact that we had 2 out of the year, which I didn't think was terrible, but we did have 2 days where we were not able to have a quorum. And we have a 7-member commission, so there should be no reason why we can't have quorums. So it was tasked to me to reach out to Madam Chair and, basically go over all the information. If anyone has any questions about the attendance, making sure that you understood what the commission does as far as involvement. I know you all can't be everywhere all the time, so I have tried my best to either send you emails ahead of time or text messages. If you guys want me to continue doing that, I'll be happy to do that. We just gotta make sure that we have a quorum for every meeting, and we meet the same time. It's always the second Tuesday of every month. It's always at 5:30.
Monday.
It's Monday.
Monday, sorry. I quit. Let's go back to 2019. No, 2020 is just not good for me so
I
far.
wasn't gonna say anything about the January 13th, 2019 agenda we're looking at.
Oh, yeah, see, okay.
Well, I said I have trouble with that 2022, so.
Yeah, no, that's my fault.
Take a
Well, I
while.
did get it right at the bottom, so I.
There you go.
Got too many things and too many things going on. But yeah, like I said, it is the second Monday, of every month. It's always at 5:30, except if it falls on a holiday, then it is the following Tuesday. And I think we only have one of those. But I do send out the schedule, and I believe I've already done that ahead of time, but I can resend it out so everyone has that for the year. So you
I
can
would
put it on your
appreciate you
calendars.
resending it. We are without computers and a lot of things have been lost.
Oh, no. Okay.
We've been moved out of our house for a while.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And I for one like the text message reminders because I get busy and Mondays are like first day of the week, where it's school, I'm an educator, so it just gets out of my head, and
Okay.
we have faculty meetings and stuff on Mondays too, so I have to really budget my time just to get back here in time. I think I made it with 10 minutes to spare today, so, it's just a
And that's
reminder.
And I have to apologize, I really thought it was at 6.
Oh, that's fine. You can come on up here and have a seat.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on up. This is Tammy. Come on up. We're pretty informal. And that's something too that if we need to bring back up was the time. I know we talked about it a couple
We
of
had it at 6 for a
we
while,
had it
didn't
at
we?
5, and then it got moved to 5:30, and then if we need to move it back to 6, it does not matter. I'm here to serve, so it's completely, if we want to keep it at 5:30, we can. If we need to change it,
Is there
it's-
anybody that can't make 5:30? Or that it's really difficult?
Yeah.
I'm good at 5:30.
I prefer 5:30.
Now that I know it's at 5:30, I
All right, the newbie is forgiven. Anybody else?
Well, you
5:30 a problem, guys?
If
No?
I can make it by 5:30, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I always try, there might have been 2 or 3 times where I just couldn't get it because, just chaos and trying to do too much at once. I try to get the agenda and everything out to you at least a week before so you can digest everything and see if you have a question, you can call. But it, like I said, we do have an ordinance that says if you're not here for 3 times in a row, technically, council can have you removed. I don't want to operate in that way. I want us all to be a cohesive unit. So, Madam Chair, I know it's, you set the tone, so it's up to you if you want to, talk or say
Well,
anything
I was
else.
just gonna say, Jennifer sent a note, she sent me the information about who'd missed and who hadn't, and I guess it's once a month and it all kind of blurs together. And, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have missed so many of these meetings to myself. Well, I was sick, I had surgery, things happen, life happens. I didn't miss any 3 in a row, but, we had a couple of people that just basically quit coming, and that was a problem because they didn't resign, they just quit coming. So then you have to enforce that policy so you can move on. But, we want all of y'all to serve. And, I told Jen I'm feeling good now, so hopefully, I won't have to miss. But everybody's gonna miss every now and then, but if it gets to be a burden, just let Jen know, because we don't want to lose you, but we'd much rather be able to move forward and not be counting on you and you can't be here. So, you can reach out to me too, but is there anything you want to add, Jennifer?
Nope, that was
I'm
it.
not,
Yeah, that was it.
she stepped on my toes too, so, it is what it is, but, we've got a lot of new people too, so maybe it won't be.
Yeah.
And I was at one of those meetings where we didn't have a quorum, and we still went over stuff, but we had to redo it the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And it does get kind of aggravating, so, we'll just, hopefully it won't happen again.
Yeah, involvement is very important, and like I said, I know that all of you all can't be everywhere at once. Council as well, they do the same thing where they're tasked, going different places, and sometimes they split up their duties, I think. But we want to see our commission members at our events as much as we can, or their schedule will allow. And that's why, the text messages, that's another way that we can kind of do a group text that says, hey, I can't be here at this, do you think you can go? There has to be some kind of representation other than just Jen, because I am one person. I need help from everybody in order to spread the good word of what PRT is doing here in Hardeeville, because it's a lot, and there's a lot of folks that just, they're not hearing it, they're not getting the information or whatever's going on, and we have to work around that. So that's all I have for that, is just making sure we're here and we have a quorum, which means we need 4 people. That's it, we just need 4, always.
And we have 6 tonight, so
Yes.
we're good.
Yeah, well, we have everybody, actually, yeah, well, Vicky's gone. And like I said, most people are pretty good at just sending a quick text message or an email saying, hey, I have a doctor's appointment, I can't be there, or whatever, and that's fine. And then that's when I'll put up, hey, we've got 2 people out, we gotta have these folks here, so.
Make sure you don't miss, because we're tight,
Yes.
yeah.
So, but that's it, that's all I had. That was-
I feel 3 in a row is very lenient. So.
Yeah, and, well, life happens, and to be truthful, I know one of the people that quit, she had the best of intentions and ended up getting a different job, and that,
Oh, yeah.
life happens, and, it is what it is, but, sometimes there are circumstances, so I don't think we removed the other person. It was way more than 3 meetings that he missed.
Yeah, we missed one, there was one that we removed by using
Yeah,
that.
but it was way over 3. We
It
didn't
was.
even
He was
do
only
it.
here.
Yeah, we didn't even do it for 3 meetings, so.
Yeah,
There's-
we did try to
Yeah.
Well,
engage.
just like that, I don't feel bad for being a half hour.
There you
late.
go, there you go.
So,
While I have 2 council people in the office, not that, I have one at home, I should have just asked him, but anyway. Sweetie was our rep, kind of our liaison person, and he was really good about coming to the meetings and stuff and giving us input. And I know we've had several meetings where we haven't had anybody here just because it just worked out that way. Do you know who's gonna be the liaison, or
No,
y'all?
I can certainly talk to Harry about it, and we'll just probably.
And it could be the new person will come in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly, I don't know, but I'll talk to Harry about it and see what he says. See-
Yeah.
but
Just
we'll
somebody
definitely
to
get-
kind of keep their ear to the ground and,
Definitely need to have a rep on your committee, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to do it, but I got, my Monday, if I might interrupt, my Monday was like,
crazy, huh?
yeah, well, it was money talks for 9 to 10, this is in Sun City. At 11 o'clock, it was families in transition.
Monday's not good for you.
No.
Mondays aren't good for you.
No, and then at 3 o'clock, it was Transportation Committee at Jasper County. Here, you're at 5:30, and I gotta leave to make the Jasper County School Board at 6:30. But I'd love to be on this particular committee, because I have a strong interest
Yeah,
in
just,
supporting it.
Well, we appreciate your input and, you know, the fact that you're here to support us, because, you know, we need your support, and you need to see how we're working together and where our heads are as we're moving forward. That helps Jen, and so, you know, I really appreciate that.
Sherry, can I say something?
Sure.
I really appreciate all of your input, honestly I do, and I really want you guys to focus on those things that Jen has spoke about. And this is really important because we're gonna have budget season coming up, and we really need direction on where you wanna see Parks and Recs go this year. And if if you have those goals set and you kind of prioritize what you wanna do, that gives us something to work on and how much money we can funnel to Parks and Recs, because you have a plan. You come to us with a plan, okay, the committee has gotten together and this is what we really want to do as a priority, and then that helps us we're not just siphoning off money with no plan. You know, so I really hope that you will follow through with that, because I think that's I'm glad you put it there, and I'm glad that we'll have that in before budget time, because it's really important.
Yeah, and we could probably revise it or whatever before then, and if
Oh, yes,
we
ma'am.
need to change anything or add
Oh,
anything
yeah.
to it, so that y'all have an updated version, so. Thank you very much for that.
Also too, just to let you know, Mr. Simbor is aware, about the open position. He was wanting to wait until after the special election before one was, addressed to us.
Yeah. And we appreciate y'all coming to stand in. John said I would come, but he was taking my mom home today, so he didn't make it either. He had a day like you did. Okay, is that it, Jennifer, or you want to go over, let's see, we're at director's report.
Yes, and I'm gonna try and make this one kind of quick. We have finalized, more or less, our 2020 annual calendar event. We thought we had it in place, but we missed just a few, so we are adding some more. We will get this information out to you all soon. We have added the pop-up park and play program, which is a satellite program where Parks and Rec goes out into the communities. Doesn't have to be little kids, it can be big kids as well. So we are looking to do that. We're also gonna partner, I think, with police and fire in some of the lower income areas of Hardeeville as well, because they can't get to the park. So we're taking the park to them. It's a very successful program that's done all over the country, and really excited to bring it here. We're still doing the 4th off Main, the community block party for fireworks. We're still doing that. Something else that we're doing this year too is a food truck rodeo, like a food truck roundup. It's geared more towards adults. Kids are welcome if mom and dad want to bring them, but we're looking at having some live music in the park where you can come and enjoy, you know, a glass of wine, some beer, and then, you know, eat some yummy food from different food trucks. It's just another way to socialize within the community. We are still doing Screen on the Green. We're working on the trunk or treat program, all of those things. We're also doing Bark in the Park, tailoring that towards when the dog park opens, and that'll be some vaccinations, clinics, all that kind of stuff. We're also trying to do community food drive, adding that into November. We're working on maybe doing a 5K, it's not for sure. Battle of the Badges, we'll continue to do that, and then we're also adding a Christmas. Right now, we've got it listed as Hardeeville's Holidays, D-A-Z-E. It's gonna put you into days. It's not quite a light display that they had before, but it is something similar. We're looking at doing a Christmas movie for the kids, having some s'mores, and then having light displays on the opposite side of the water, so that when you look at the water in the back, you can see the shimmer of displays. So that way folks can come in, zero cost to the community, just something different to add to our list. So anyway, we are super busy. We're also working diligently handling our Fun Bus Committee, which is doing all kinds of employee fun activities. We do Employee of the Year that we're going to be adding this year. You name it, we've got it. Birthday celebrations, all that stuff has been thrown to PRT. So other than that, right now, I do have a bit of sad news. It's very frustrating. We do not have a basketball program. Last year we had 1.5 and we struggled. This year we are down to 0. We just didn't have the participation from the kids. We tried everything we could. I think right now, again, it's a little bit of oversaturation, but with the new center coming, we really got to put everything full force and get our community involved, because we've got tons of kids and they're not registering. Whether it's fees or whatever, we've really got to jump in and see that. So basketball season has not started. So that is a little bit of bad news.
Jennifer, I see you have in August, the 12th, you have the Fill the Bus, but we also usually do a back to school thing also. I don't see that listed.
Yeah,
Is that kind of to get, is that?
No, we took it off our list last year because the school was doing the same thing, so we didn't want to oversaturate the same thing the school was doing. It didn't make a whole bunch of sense, so we took it off. And some of these dates will change, so when you look at it, don't, use this one, because again, it's gonna go off our annual. So we'll have the new one coming up, soon.
Well, I think the pop-up park and play, that's a good idea, because
Yeah.
maybe that'll help build some
Yeah.
rapport
trust.
with the community.
Yes, there's a lot of trust issues right now.
Because, when my kids were young, everybody was involved in Parks and Rec, so
Yeah.
it is discouraging.
What kind of response did you get to the screen on the green this past summer?
It was hit or miss. We're gonna start moving it a little bit towards the fall. We had pretty good participation, maybe at 1 or 2, and the rest, we had one that no one showed up. I think it might have been 1 or 2, and most of them I think were staff. But then we had a few that we had really good ones. So we also thought about doing adult themes.
I was gonna
gonna
say,
say that.
I was gonna say the same
Yeah,
thing.
so that you can, do some really old, cool movies and stuff like that. And that's another thing that we could do with the, a food truck rodeo and all
Absolutely.
that stuff. Have a food truck that's out there and all that kind of stuff, so yes. See, you can put that in for goals, as a program idea. The tree lighting we had was, really successful. We had so many people that really enjoyed it. I think we had maybe about 200 people that showed up. We actually didn't have enough seats for everybody. So it's very quaint. It was a good way to kick off the holiday season. And then, we want to continue to have something every weekend for our folks and just expand on that. I think the s'mores thing, everyone asked if we were going to try and do s'mores. So, yes, out there. And yes, we are. And then I've also talked to several of the folks that are in downtown Hardeeville, trying to work to see if we can come up with some kind of I don't know if we want to call it downtown coalition or something, where we get residents, homeowners in the area to try and figure out how we can do some more Christmas lights displays, or whether it's just a yard of the month, something like that. We've got a few folks that have expressed some interest of doing that, so we're navigating that to see if we need to push that to council and see if they want to do something completely different with that. But it was good to see a lot of folks that wanted to get involved. We had a Christmas party that was very exciting. Some folks can't play games, but that's okay. It's all right. Santa's Toy Box was a huge success. The school really enjoyed it, and the kids. I know that Miss Castle was there. I think this was the first year that you were there.
It was
They
the
got to
first year.
see how the presents are actually distributed. Because the community always asks, are they really distributed? Yes, they really, really are. And the kids just love it, enjoy it, and it was in and out, it was crazy. We had a lot of fun. Mayor's Senior Luncheon, this would have been my second one, and by far this one was my favorite, because what we saw this year was where there was more interaction with the folks from Sun City that came in and prepared, and then the volunteers, and they actually sat down with everybody and was eating, and it was just really, really cool. So, let me see what else. The basketball court upgrades, I told you all about that, progress. But other than that, I mean, we are planning and moving forward. Yeah, we're super, super busy, so, but that's all I have, Madam Chair.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you still have the times that were allocated for basketball, Monday, Wednesday, 7 to 8? Or did you,
Yes,
like
I
the
do.
facility take it back, or do you still have those?
We still have it. Agape allows us to use it. We do have to pay for it, but if we can program something, then yes, we can still use it.
All right, I'll talk to
Absolutely.
you
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's been very frustrating. Soccer has experienced a little bit of the same, but I think but again, we've got Tormenta. So sometimes, this is what I tell people and they forget, that when you have a huge facility like we do and we invite these bigger groups to come in, they will take over, and that's what they do. Those that usually can't afford Tormenta, they'll end up coming to play with us. But I will tell you that the county is struggling as well. I think we spoke to Johnny maybe last week, and for their basketball, I think they've got like 3 teams max. That's for the county. So it's crazy. And there's a lot of AAU teams or 7-on-7 football that's carrying through. So there's a lot of different organizations that we're competing with, and the community has to get back to us, Parks and Rec, and put us first, and know that we are the heart of the community. And from there, once you get to a certain age, obviously we're not going to compete, but that's when you move on. But these kids are competing. I know Terry's got a football program. They're competing at a super young age, so we've got to get ahead of the game. So.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
For the basketball program, just out of curiosity, is it just for kids or do you have an adult? Just because I'm kind of new to the Hardeeville area, so I'm just kind of questioning about.
Right now it's kids. What we do is, because we don't have enough, well, obviously we don't have a facility to facilitate it, so we partner with Jasper County Parks and Recreation, so whatever they facilitate is what we have to offer.
Okay.
But once our rec center is built, yeah, we've got adults, you name it. We're also working with the YMCA, so we're trying to navigate some of those things. We're just gonna program like you just can't imagine. And then a lot of tournaments, we wanna get all those things on. We've got pickleball, all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
So
we will have a tennis court?
We don't have tennis court, but we have on, both courts we'll be able to do pickleball. So we'll be able to have them lined out, so we'll have that. The tennis courts we don't have. It was an idea, I think, that had been put in before I got here. It got scratched, I think. I think they had talked about it at some point. I think it was gonna be a basketball goal, and then we scratched that, I think, so.
We should
But
reopen
Yeah.
You like tennis, huh?
that.
Yeah,
They're a tennis
we do.
team.
Now, we will have racquetball, not quite the same, but we have 2 racquetball courts. We hope those will be pretty much full to the hill. And then we'll also have an indoor walking track, which in the summer, that's where I'll be. 'Cause
That's
Yeah.
walking, everyone walks the loop, and I think it's right about a mile if you walk all the way around, maybe a little less, but it's pretty hot, so. But, yeah, we have tons of opportunity to program, and get everyone down there and send the information out. We're also working on a marketing project. We'll be working with Jasper County Chamber, the satellite office with Hardeeville, with Kendall, getting that going so we can start to market our facility.
Where's this facility gonna be? I know that's gonna be a really stupid question, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's on the corner of McTier and John Smith Road. If you go down 17 like you're heading towards Ridgeland, right there at John Smith, you're gonna turn, and it's right on the corner. You know where Royal Live Oaks is?
Across from the new school.
I drive past it, I've always wondered
Right
what's
across
going
the
there.
street.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly where it's gonna be. And giving a shameless plug for Royal Live Oaks, they are having a opening, I think, on the 24th at 10:30, ribbon cutting, I think. So I think they've been in it for about a year and a half, well, since I got here, so.
A while.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's pretty good.
I think 10 o'clock, you mean 10:30?
I thought, it might be 10, I thought it said 10:30, yeah.
All right, anybody have anything for Jennifer before we? Okay, if I can get a motion to adjourn?
Uh,
Oh, wait a minute.
You want any public comment?
You can come up, David, if you want. We'll let you speak.
Thank you. Well, usually there's I'm David Spiso. I'm a Hardeeville resident. Just two observations. One is I drive here a lot, and going past, this might be for Rick or somebody else, Rick. I noticed in the development of the field, the surface where we're gonna put down the slab, there's sand there, but it doesn't look like there's as much sand as I've seen at other places. So I'm curious if they're building it high enough up off the floodplain to attract it. And that might be something that you would look at, or maybe Brandon would look at, but I'm gonna raise that issue again.
Okay.
And then the other thing is I wish that we could get something from y'all regarding, you didn't say parade in Hardeeville. So if there's something to say before the season, and you can figure it out, please let us know. Thank you.
I'm sorry, David, I didn't hear what kind of parade?
Christmas parade, I'm sorry.
We didn't have one
Christmas
this year.
parade.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we sorta did. Kinda sorta did, but.
Riding down the fire truck was great. I mean, it was a blast for us.
I rode in the bucket one year, I thought it was awesome. Best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
It was
It was
awesome.
I
If you've never done that, you need to try to do it. It's just awesome.
I will say this, we have done the parade,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many years we've done it, 5 or 6. We've got some medals where we've won loudest kids or best float. We've got several things. And I prefer to come over here and do a Christmas parade, number one, because it's at night. What's the point of having a float with lights on if you can't see them? I mean, it's just one of those things. And quite honestly, Bluffton is so aggravating to get in and out of, and to try to get a float in there, and you have to be in where you need to be by 8 o'clock in the morning, and you don't start till 10 o'clock, so you got kids and Port John's running up, it's just, and then unfortunately what happened this year there at that ending, and that ending is a bad place to end at. I mean, there's a lot of congestion. So we truly missed, because we decided not to do Bluffton this year, planning on doing Hardeeville. And I was gonna say something earlier about it, but I kind of backed off of it. And quite honestly, council members that are present, to all of those of y'all who were in that meeting and voted, I was in Charleston when I got the word, and I was told it was a heated meeting, and I immediately pulled it up on the phone and watched it. And I could see the disgust on your face. You tried, and every time someone says, well, Hardeeville just threw the parade out the window, I take up for y'all. I promise you, I take up for you. Because you even tried to finance it for them. I mean, what else can you do? So it's sad that it had to happen that way. On the flip side of it, I fully understand why. I'm in business for myself. I have 3 children. There's a time that you have to say, enough is enough. You need to stop. So my question is this: are we waiting on someone else to step up and do this, or is this going to be a city function, a
That was
Parks
my
and Rec
question.
function?
That's something I think that they would like us to discuss and to see if we want to reach out to somebody else, or if, and I really think that almost needs to be a goal of ours, that the whole Christmas thing be more organized, because I quite frankly was shocked at the amount of people that were really upset, because I don't know, I just thought, because some years the participation's just not been that great, and I really didn't think people would be as upset as they were. And it also concerned me that the person who was supposed to be over it and who wanted to move forward with it didn't even show up to the meeting. So that spoke volumes to me also.
That's my case.
So I think that's what they want input from us, because we're the closest committee that would, and we do with the tree lighting and stuff. we are involved in the Christmas stuff, so I think is that what
Yeah,
you meant to do,
sure, yeah.
David? Okay.
You got a
Well, I
year to
would-
figure
I would-
it out. 11 months.
I think that
I
it's
would-
something that should go on our individual goals and objectives under events. If we're interested in doing that, prioritize it individually and come back and talk about it after we've had a chance to think about different things that.
Well, I mean, look at Jen, she can do one more thing.
And I think that's part of
I'll
the
help.
problem.
Well, even if it's, we reach out for somebody else to do it or whatever, but, there were so many people that were upset in the community, hopefully some of those would be willing to step up and help. I mean, there was a lot of loud talk and, so who know, I mean, but again, they didn't show up for the meeting, so, I don't know.
I agree. Like I say, we were slightly hurt.
Yeah,
We were truly.
I hate it
looking
for the
forward to it.
kids and for the organizations that wanted to be involved, and, I mean, we hated it for that,
Excuse me,
but
thank you.
it was a lot.
Mr. David,
Yes, sir.
you do know that, baseball season starts 31st, January.
Okay.
I'll be down there. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
come-
pork chops and all?
You come see me. You
That's
come
pork
see
chops.
me. And
I'll
that
be there.
invitation goes out to all of y'all. Y'all come see me, I'll be happy to buy you lunch.
That is really nice. That's a good show. You think
Thank
he's a
you, sir.
coach, he's a better cook.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for coming.
Okay, sir.
I'm through, sorry.
Okay.
And then commission issues individually, if there's any issues or concerns, and that's.
Well, that's what I was asking. Does anybody else have anything they wanna? I think the parade was kind of the unspoken elephant in the room
I
that
agree.
nobody,
I
I
agree.
appreciate David bringing that up.
I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, but, I've said my piece.
I think we have a lot on our plate this year, and I think it's gonna be very important that everyone does do their homework
And stay
and
focused.
gets involved and most importantly, attends the meetings. Because there's a lot of things on here I'm very excited about. Excited about for Hardeeville to be heading in that direction. For someone to take our kids and have fun and, one of the biggest reasons why we don't have a play set in our house is because, or in our backyard is because they're building new ones here, so, I think it's great, so hopefully we can keep our focus, develop a great strategy. I think, my first impression of the Hardeeville Christmas Parade in 2018 was, wow, it needs some work. So when it didn't happen last year, me being new to the area, it made sense for me, but it didn't happen. But I would love to be able to get it up to the Bluffton, as big as Bluffton is. I think if we attack it and we start developing and put plans in place, there's nothing that we can't accomplish as a team, as a committee.
It's much safer in our area to do it here than Bluffton. Is just the traffic's so bad.
Agreed.
It's just so busy there,
Well,
but
just remember, at one time, I've been here 29 years, Bluffton was speed trap, that's what it was.
yeah. It was 5 miles.
That's all it was.
5 miles. Yeah.
So,
Little tiny place.
I agree, it's gonna take, you gotta put in the time, you gotta put in the study.
Yeah, I mean, you see all these different things with all the different, the annual calendar's great, we've got all these things coming up, I think the pop-up in the park and play is great. If we get, people get the community involved, volunteering, helping with some of the mundane work and that needs to be done to make things great, and most importantly, for people to know about things that are going on, and it can't just be Facebook, it has to be other means of getting the information out to the community. Because there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to have a youth basketball program. As
I agree.
big as the city is, it's.
Yep.
But I also think that we all need to be realistic and realize that Jennifer is a two-man office.
Right.
And it's impossible for her to do everything that we've listed here. I mean, I've been in her type of position before in Park and Recreation, and it is a tough job, and you have to, like she said, she's got 5,000 bosses.
Right.
And we have to realize that and help her get there, and I think that, I'm talking about myself, okay, please understand that. I don't think we've stepped up enough to take some of the stuff off of her plate. I think, if you wanna do this big parade, which I think is wonderful, somebody's gotta step up and say, Jennifer, you can oversee it, you can tell us what we can, put the parameters on us, but somebody else has to do the job.
Oh, I
Same thing with
I totally-
growing.
yeah.
One of the things that Jennifer and I have talked about in the past, and I think most of you heard it as well, is that we need to grow our Festival on Main, the new program that she started. We want to bring the outside community in. She can't do that. It's all on us.
Well, I totally agree.
Yeah, and I think when we're
understand.
writing our
Well,
goals
it's
and
not
objectives.
just her, it's the whole city.
Absolutely.
I mean, just about every employee was there and doing 25 different things, so,
Well,
you
just
But I
know.
think that's part of Jennifer also, her personality brings people to want to help her out. But all I'm saying is that when we write our goals and objectives, we need to keep in our mind that Jennifer is a two-man office. And what can we do realistically and figure it out.
Agreed, like, when we're looking at staffing and understanding schedule of fees, program assessments, hiring and everything like that, I mean, that's stuff that, some of us that are business owners
Mhm.
understand,
Mm-hmm.
and we can help with that.
Absolutely.
So there's no problem. I mean, I joined this, committee to help, help my city and do what I can, so, just add another zero to my paycheck,
I like that. Add another zero. Well, and to give Jennifer her due, she was under the impression that the parade was taken care of, and I mean, she assured us, and I mean, it, for all intents and purposes, she didn't think she had to, police it, so, anyway, it's just one of those I don't know, it just fell apart for whatever reasons, and, but certainly not Jennifer's fault.
Well, it's not 10 days prior to the parade, it's not the time to ask for a budget. The
Absolutely.
budget
Yeah.
goes in July, June,
Yep.
that's when the time to ask for budget is.
Agreed.
And anybody that has, and I'm the furthest from a politician that you'll ever meet. But I do understand business, and I understand you have to have things done in a timely manner, and you have to plan. And it wasn't done, and, it's a shame, but it needs to be rectified.
And the city has always been very generous
Oh, I bet.
with their they make everything at the disposal of the parade or whatever, so that, it just kind of felt, you can't commit unless you have a plan and everything else is in place.
You have to wonder if there was 2 more weeks of notice given, and it was said then that the parade would not happen, and it was $2,000, less than $2,000.
It wasn't the money.
I
it-
kinda, no, it was not, but I think, personally, I think I could have raised that money if I'd had more time.
You wouldn't have had to raise the money because the city would have been happy to step up. The problem is you can't commit resources and people when there's no plan in place and you don't know
Correct. And
what's
that's-
going on.
That's what I'm saying, if that had been prior and the money was the problem with a little more, I think there's enough people here. I know the Barracudas would have donated.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. I know OKG Concrete Center would have donated too.
And like I said, the city's always been more, I've been here a long time and I've never heard any discussion out of any council about, oh, this is too much money or whatever. They've always
No,
shouldered the
I'm-
responsibility but for safety reasons and for people being involved, you have to have a plan in place. And they've always come and presented a plan and done whatever, and for some reason it just didn't happen.
Don't take what I said was wrong.
Yeah.
I find no fault with the county council whatsoever, or the city council, I'm sorry. Like I said, looking at that meeting, David was in absolute anguish saying things. He was trying to work around it. He was trying to figure out a way to work around it. He
Yeah.
But like I said, I understand things need to be done. And it was a joke, Jen, I was kidding, putting it on you. That was a joke.
We saw you kind of melt in your chair over
So she's
there.
already packing up, ready to go.
She's moving on. But I can tell you this, whenever Jen has called me and said, hey, Terry, I've always answered her call, and I've always helped her out. And long as I'm able. I mean, there is that phone call every once in a while that, hey, I got 15 minutes, get any sausage done? Once in a while. But if she's, I mean, one year we did, hot dogs and chips and waters for,
Back to
the,
school.
back to school thing, and we provided all the people to do it with. I think either the Kudas or myself provided the food and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. We saw some people that came and played football with us, but it wouldn't matter. Jen asked me to help her, and that was, I hadn't been around her but a month, 2 months, something like that. But point is, you know, ask, and like I said, I did say, y'all come see me for lunch. Anytime there's a ball game down there, I'm down there. The city, I tell the city, county council, the city, anybody, the fire, the police guys, the paramedics, I'm not gonna charge them. I think they're underpaid as it is. And if I can give them a pork chop and a chicken leg and make them smile at me, I'm good to go. I know one thing, I got a friend.
That's right.
All right, I'm done.
I know we're running out of time, but, so we don't have to do business again. Tam, do you wanna, give a little quick introduction to to everybody?
Since you missed the public
It's
presentation.
fine.
Okay, so I missed last month because I had the flu, and then, today, I really did think it was 6 o'clock. I don't know why, I apologize.
Council's normally at 6, that's probably why.
Probably what I was looking at, so I apologize. But my name's Tammy, and I'm Tammy Gray, and we moved here to Hardeeville a year ago, and love the area. We really do. We enjoy the city. It kind of reminds me of home a little bit, and I love to be involved. Used to be a teacher. I'm a retired teacher, only because my Indiana license didn't go with me to South Carolina. But I love to be involved. I love to volunteer, and so this was a great way for me to reach out and just kind of give back to the community. So,
Well, welcome.
thank you.
Well,
We're glad to have you.
Okay, can I get, you want to say something?
adjourn.
Okay. Do I get a second?
second.
All right. All in favor, stand up and leave.